21 days towards a breakthrough and a project that we're about to start. And I'm excited to welcome you into this. This is an open invitation for anybody that wanted your year to end strong. You don't want 2023 to just be the start of another year. You want this year to be the best year ever. And if that sounds like something interesting to you, be sure to like this, share this. Also, subscribe to our YouTube. I'm going to be talking about a project that I'm about to start up this next Monday. I'm welcoming anybody that has an interest in that to be able to join. And I'm going through a spiritual standpoint on this. So if you're not familiar with me, my name is James Zhang. Nice to meet you. I'm a faith-based entrepreneur, and I love empowering others that are faith-based entrepreneurs, leaders, influencers. We run something called Kingdom Builders, which is to support those that want to build your kingdoms to ultimately elevate his kingdom. Now, while this is a faith talk, at the same time, truth is truth. So if you're not a person of faith, I think the things that we're going to talk about today are going to be super practical as well. I'm the type that likes to take things and make it very applicable. So definitely hang on with me as well too. So let's describe this. I made an announcement yesterday I thought was interesting, and I wonder if you would resonate with this message as well. But at the end of the year, this is how I typically feel as an entrepreneur, as a leader, as someone with goals and aspirations, and I'm sure you do as well too. While the end of the year is exciting, at the same time, it can be a little frightening. I don't know how you feel about it, but I have goals that I look at that I've achieved, but I also have a bunch of goals, to be honest, that I haven't achieved. And as I'm ending the year with a month on the clock, Thanksgiving here, I hope you had a great one, and Black Friday and all that stuff, I can't help but there's this little angst in me, this anxiety in me, this fear in me, this worry in me that I'm going to end this year perhaps with some goals that are not yet checked off. And if I don't look at those correctly, that can play a lot of tricks on me. But put a one in the chat if you've ever felt that way with your goals. You're a little scared. You're a little worried. Maybe you gave up on your goals, perhaps. Maybe you're looking at them and it looks like it, honestly, like looks at you with like this guilt and shame. It's this weird thing out there, right? And it's troubling. And I made a decision that this year, I want to do things completely differently. I want to describe what I'm going to do, why I'm going to do it, and also invite you, if it sounds like something interesting to you, on what I believe it's going to take for an absolute breakthrough. Okay, so this is what ended up happening. I'm a very spiritual person, and we just came back this last week. We were out in a company trip out in Tahiti. It was great, and on the trip, I had an idea. We were meeting with one of the owners of our company, and he mentioned that he did a fast, and I'm like, interesting. Right? I haven't done many different types of fasts out there. I've done like an intermittent fast and a liquid fast, but a fast, a water fast, right? And if you look back, besides all the physical reasons on a fast and why that's good, there's also a lot of scriptural, biblical, spiritual reasons for a fast as well too. So I ended up doing a 72-hour fast right before Thanksgiving. And it was one of the best experiences of my life. It brought me a lot of clarity, brought me a lot of purpose, brought me some ideas. And what happened is after the fast with Thanksgiving, we enjoyed. And then the next day I woke up and some ideas started hitting my mind. And this was the idea that came to me. I said, what are the patterns? What are the principles? Are there principles of breakthrough that spiritually make sense? Because if you're someone like me, you know that we're not just flesh and blood. You know that we're not just a mind, but we also have a spirit. What's up, everybody? As you're coming in, let me know where you're coming in from as well too. But put a 2 in the chat if you believe that you have a spirit. There's another side to you that's bigger than your body, that's bigger than your mind, but it's something greater, right? For me in my faith walk, I'm a Christian, so I believe in a living God. I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe that he is the way, the truth, and the life, right? And not here to, if you have a different belief, I totally respect that, but that's my belief. So understanding that the spiritual side, awesome, great to see that. Okay, there we go. If we know that we're spiritual in nature, good morning, Florida. If we know that we're spiritual in nature, then what if we actually went back to things that can tie our spiritual nature to our mind and our bodies as well too, to actually go to that for breakthroughs? So I started meditating, as I started praying, as I started thinking, I felt that God led me to a passage in the Bible. And Perhaps you're familiar with this story, but it's a story in the book of Joshua. Now, to give you a little bit of a background of Joshua, cool story, whether you're a person of faith or not. But basically, Joshua is the next leader in charge after Moses. I think a lot of us know Moses, right? He's the guy that split the Red Sea and everything, and a historical figure, right? So basically, this guy was the leader of who's called the Israelites. And you can find this in the book of Joshua 5 and 6. It's interesting. And he's supposed to like go on these conquests and stuff, right? And what happened was the very first city that Joshua was leading the army from into was this city called Jericho. And Jericho, to give you, and you can look it up. I was actually digging into this. It's a historical place. You can look up the archaeological ruins. Like, it's pretty cool how this works, right? Understand that the Bible is like there's many accounts that are actually like, it's all historical. Like, there's actual things that happened there, right? So you can look it up in modern day today. But Jericho was the first city that this army was supposed to go around. And the reason why I think this was brought up to my mind was Jericho, and I'll show this on my screen, at least in on my YouTube right here. It's interesting. Imagine you are an army that does not have machinery or anything, but you're just walking around and you're supposed to like conquest. You're supposed to like overcome this fortress, right? And you're going to the city. And I pulled up a picture on the screen, but the walls of Jericho were interesting. So Jericho, I imagine like medieval times or something, right? They have two sets of walls. So imagine you're on your foot and you're supposed to take over this city, right? And what happens is the first base, you are up against a wall that is at least, it says here, probably around 30 feet, 35 feet high. That's like 3 stories. So imagine you're on your feet, you have no machines, you have no catapults, right? Back in the day, you don't have anything, you're just on your feet. You're supposed to conquest and dominate this big, big wall. Now, here's the first issue, is that the first wall is really, really big. If you even get past the first wall, then there's actually another uphill where I have to go up, and then there's a second wall. There's a second wall. The walls are so wide they could ride a chariot on it. Yes, the walls are around 12 to 15 feet in width, or a lot in width, right? They're big. These are giant walls. So then there's a second wall. So if you're looking from, even if you get past the first wall somehow on foot, and you're like, it's against your advantage, right? You have people on the high ground, they could just shoot at you, do all that. Even if you get past the first wall, what happens then? You have to climb another mountain, and then you have to get past the second wall, right? So what happened was imagine you actually were on the ground. It said that it is 46 feet from ground level to the top of the second wall. So you're looking at 4 stories to mount and somehow lay conquest to the city. Now, I bring this up because I wonder, with you and your goals, do you feel like there's a Jericho in your life? With your goals, with my goals, I know. As I'm ending the year, I know there's some goals and some challenges and some barriers that I feel completely are like impossible to mount, right? I would view that Jericho thing as like impossible. It's 4 stories, right? I'm on foot. Just try climbing up 1 story. That's already tiring, right? So in your life, put a 2 in the chat if you have a Jericho challenge, a Jericho barrier, an insurmountable, an impossible situation. Because that's how I feel towards my goals, to be honest, at the end of this year. But the story is not yet over. Because if you know the rest of this story, awesome, right? I think we all do. At the end of this story, this is what happens. It said that God has a plan that is completely different. It basically says, and you can read this in Joshua 6, he talks to Joshua, whether you believe it to be true or story, it's an interesting one, right? And he says, this is the game plan. You're not going to go in with chariots or bows and arrows. And in fact, you're not even going to attack this insurmountable challenge. But God says to Joshua, the victory is won. This is what you do. So they were to march around Jericho, which is around a mile of a march. With their army, they're just supposed to march around it for 6 days. Can you imagine what that's like if you're within Jericho, you see an enemy army, and all they're doing is circling around you? You'd be like, what is this? I might be laughing. I'd be like, okay, great battle plan right there, right? So they're walking around for 6 days. And then on the seventh day, it said that they all shouted at the same time. And yes, there were sound waves or whatever it is that happened. Somehow God performed a miracle. And when they shouted on the seventh day, these big walls toppled down and allowed them to go into Jericho and have a quick win. The insurmountable, impossible situation was made completely possible. There are things that are impossible with man, but they are possible with God. And I bring that up because as I'm thinking of my personal goals towards the end of this year, as I'm struggling with these emotions of frustration, of challenge, of worry, of doubt and fear, I started to think about this passage. And I started to think, well, what's impossible with me, what's impossible with you, is totally possible for God. And I wonder, what if there were a way to be able to go through the same types of principles that those that have done incredible things in God's will, according to your goals and the things that we're moving forward with, what if we could actually do it a similar way? And I started to think to myself, maybe, just maybe, that's the right direction to go. And I'm not you, but put a 10 in the chat if you want this year to end strong. You want 2022 to be your best year ever. You want this year not to end like your other years, perhaps. You don't want this year to be a makeover year. You don't want this year to be a just kidding year. You want this year to be the best year and your 2023 to be even better. That's how I wanted it. So as I look through the last 11 months, and there's things to be grateful for, but and I look towards my last month, I have to look with a different eye. And I challenge you to think with a different eye. Awesome, Adriana. Let's look at it with a different perspective, a spiritual lens, right? Awesome. I'm glad. Good. What's up, Desiree? So here's the idea on what I want to do. And I'm inviting you guys to this as well, too. And I'm taking it from the Bible. I like to take from the Bible because I consider the Bible to be 100% true. And to be honest, I consider God way smarter than I am. So I've realized, I don't know about you, there's a saying, there's a proverb that says there's a way that appears right to man, but it leads to death. Have you ever had a smart idea that ended up being the worst idea? I'm kind of sick and tired of my ideas, to be honest. Like my ideas suck. Like I'm not as smart as what I've realized. Like I just understand that about myself. So if I want to have confidence, I don't just want confidence in what I say or what I think, because I've lost confidence in that, to be honest. I want what's called Godfidence, right? Godfidence. I'm way more confident in what God says because he's perfect, right? He's all knowing. He's our creator, right? So let's take a look at this, and I'm actually going to go through, and it's interesting. I also thought about Daniel's story. If you don't know Daniel, you can read it in the book of Daniel. He's one of the great prophets. And what happened was he was in a very, very challenging time. He was being oppressed. Maybe you feel like you're going through oppression. Maybe you feel like you're going through tremendous challenge and turmoil. Maybe it's another person. Maybe it's a health challenge. Maybe it's something in your business. You feel like there's roadblocks. Maybe it's self-limiting beliefs. Maybe it's whatever that it is, right? We all have our challenges. And what happened was the prophet Daniel started to, as he was going through this challenge with him and his nation, they were basically being enslaved and stuff like that. He picked up the Bible, actually. Basically, the Bible back in the day was gone. Like he hadn't read it for a long time. And it says in Daniel 9:2, I'll just share my screen on this real quick. He started picking up the word, and there's principles here, right? Now I'm going to go over this in a bit. Daniel 9:2, in the first year of his reign, I, Daniel, observed in the books the number of the years which was revealed as the word of the Lord to Jeremiah the prophet for the completion of the desolations of Jerusalem, namely 70 years. Basically, he started studying the word. He started studying the Bible, right? So one principle, if you want spiritual breakthroughs, you have to study. If you want to know God's will, study God's word. So that's one thing that he did. Second thing that he did was this. In Daniel 10, it says that what happened in Daniel 10:2, in those days, I, Daniel, had been mourning for 3 entire weeks. He'd been mourning for 3 entire weeks. Daniel 10:3 said, I did not eat any tasty food, nor did meat or wine enter my mouth, nor did I use any ointment at all until the entire 3 weeks were completed. So here's Daniel, and he wanted a breakthrough in his life. Think about your breakthrough that you want in life. Think about your Jericho in your life. And what he did is, number one, he went back to the word. Number two is that he did a partial fast. He basically submitted himself and he said, I want to hear directly from God, right? I'm tired of my ways. I want to hear what God's going to say as well too. You call that a Daniel fast. He did it for 21 days. And here's the miracle. It says on the 24th day, this is what happened. I raised my eyes and looked, and behold, there was a man dressed in linen, whose waist had a belt of pure gold of Uphaz. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. And basically, he saw God. After fasting for 21 days, being in a spiritual state and really seeking God and seeking wisdom and seeking advice, he was able to find and actually speak with God himself, get wisdom, get revelation for his challenge, for his Jericho. And basically, you can read the rest of Daniel. It's quite crazy. It's quite interesting and everything. But I wonder, and that's why I wanted to dedicate the next 21 days to a breakthrough. Right? Put a 1 in the chat if you do want a breakthrough in your life, some area of your life, your goals, your finances, your businesses, your families, your health, whatever that it is. I want to break through now. I want to break through absolutely now. And I'll be honest, there's plans that I've set that definitely didn't work. There's plans that I thought were right that did not go according to plan. I'm sure that's the same with each and every single one of us, right? So what if there are principles that we can apply? Awesome. I'm glad to see the ones coming in there. And thanks for being vulnerable. What if we could just follow principles that happened before that yielded breakthroughs, that yielded miracles? And what if we'd stop trusting in ourselves, but we actually trusted in what God said? Now, once again, I don't know what your belief is. Some of you might share my same faith. Some of you might not. But I think we would all agree there's more than meets the eye. And perhaps this is your opportunity to be able to see something in the spiritual lens and kind of investigate, right? Be an open-minded skeptic on things. So here's the idea. I want to end 2022 strong. And I'm committed. And you ask the Lord, you think about what makes sense for you. Starting November 28th is I'm going to be going over 21 days and leading 21 days of a breakthrough series. And it's going to be dealing with fasting. It's going to be dealing with prayer. It's going to be dealing with studying. And it's going to be dealing with, let's try putting God first. Let's try doing things according to what he says in his word. Let's try the things that actually were able to bring down the walls of Jericho. What brought down the walls of Jericho was not an amazing strategy. It was not an incredible bout of force. It was not anything that Joshua or anyone did. It was purely following God's plan, being obedient and waiting for his timing. There's a whole series of principles that are in this. And what was insurmountable, what seemed impossible by man, was entirely possible with God. What if there's a Jericho wall, a Jericho barrier in your life right now, in your goals right now? And what if it actually required a different strategy, a different angle, a different way to be able to get it, to be able to actually conquer that? And that's what I want to call out. That's what I want to be able to lead in the next 21 days, just for me at least. I want to experience that. And I wonder if you would be interested to doing that as well too. But if that sounds like something interesting to you, put a me in the chat. Put a me in the chat, that is. And if you are, and then follow me, be sure to. We also have a Telegram group called Kingdom Builders. Awesome. Yeah, you can check it out in my link tree in my bio. There's a Telegram group. It's also my captions. You can join that as well too. You can bring anyone that you want. It's a free thing. I'm just going to be doing this, and it's going to be a series of 21 days, starting on the Monday, starting on November 28th, of fasting. Now, the fast can be what you want to do. It could be a Daniel fast. It could be maybe you want to fast sweets. Awesome. Great to see you. Awesome. That's going to be fun. Right? Maybe it can be, I feel like I'm called. I'll see. right? I did a 3-day water fast. I think I'm being called to do a 21-day water fast. We'll see, right? I'll check it out as I go through that. But just basically with your body, submitting your body so that you can be more disciplined, especially around Thanksgiving, right? I think we can all agree when we start eating too much and our bodily disciplines, our health disciplines are gone, it's really hard to think properly, right? Just on a practical level. So discipline your body by fasting something, choosing something to be like, I'm going to discipline myself by perhaps I'm not going to eat sweets, or perhaps I'm going to do intermittent fasting, whatever makes sense for you that you feel you're called to do. It's 21 days of just committing to some type of discipline so that you can calm your body and you can actually allow your mind and your spirit to start to work. That's what a fast does. You're basically killing your body, not killing physically. Fasting is actually very healthy for you, but you're shutting off the voices and the influences of your body. And then you're allowing the voices of your mind and your spirit to be able to speak more, right? So a period of fasting. Number two, a period of prayer. Now, you may or may not be a person of prayer, but I think it's important to ask, right? To ask. Prayer is powerful, right? If you took a look at what Joshua did with the Israelites, it said that when he was walking around the Jericho walls, he put the priests in front. So they were praying, they were worshiping, they were putting God first, right? They were seeking his wisdom and seeking his timing on things. So whether you're a believer or not, pray, right? And I think we've all prayed in some shape or form in our life, but pray whatever that means to you. For me, it's praying to God, and it's to make sure that I can seek his wisdom in all things, but a lot of prayer. Now, number three, it is study. Study it. Daniel, it said that he studied the word. Joshua, it says that in Joshua 1:8, God made a promise. He said that if make sure to just look at my word, meditate on it day and night, make sure it doesn't depart from your mouth, and be sure to do everything that it says, and you will have success in everything you do. You will make your way prosperous. There's the success principle, right? So we're going to go through 21 days of study as well. So I'm going to be doing Bible studies. I'm going to be there's going to be some verses that we're going to go through, and it's going to be things that we can meditate on. Okay, and in all that, the goal is this: for us to be able to achieve massive breakthrough together in the next 21 days, to be able to go by a proven way, biblically, spiritually, to be able to actually unlock some major doors, to be able to tackle your Jericho, whatever that is, together. I think it's a lot more fun together. I want to do it personally. I'm going to be doing it regardless. So one, for keeping myself accountable. Awesome, Tammy. That's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, I know we were talking about a fast as well too. And once again, regardless of what your belief is, there's a lot of spiritual principles to this. So whether you consider yourself a believer, whether you consider yourself just someone spiritual, or you just want to try something different, you're more than welcome. Instead of fast, drink only water that's what I'm going to aim to do. Drink only water for 21 days. Exactly. So you do what you're called to, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Once again, if you're interested in that, then go to, in my caption or my link in the bio, I have a Telegram group called Kingdom Builders, and there's going to be a private community over there. You can join that. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I can't wait to be able to embark on this journey together. But last thing is this: just think, what is your Jericho? What is your insurmountable wall, your insurmountable barrier? Seemingly, what is your impossibility right now? Is it something in your business, in your family, in your finances, in your health, in your mindset? Like, what is it that is really challenging you right now? And I want you to bring that to the surface. And I want you to relook at your goal, relook at your focus, relook at your intention, because that's going to be the subject of your prayer. That's going to be the subject of the things that we're going to really, really be able to tackle together. I got my list. I want you to bring your list as well too. And if we do this together, it's going to be a lot of fun. Okay. So if you're interested in that, once again, join that Telegram group. I'll get getting this started live on Monday, and I'm going to give some other directives in that group as well too. If you have anyone that you would like to join this with, feel free to share this with them. You can share this video with them. You can talk to them about it. You can invite them into the group. This is straight up open for anybody. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see who's going to be in this group. But other than that, everyone, let me end this with a quick prayer as we end this day. But Father God, just thank you so much for bringing us all together today. Thank you for letting us know the truth in your word. It's a lamp to our feet, and we know that there are things that you've said, and there's promises, and these promises are incredible because if we stand on them, we know they're a firm foundation because you're perfect. You never lie. You are all truth. You are all wisdom. So right now we are together just standing firmly on your promises. We're looking into your word for wisdom. We're looking into your word for guidance. And we're excited that we're able to really dedicate this specific time to be able to understand more you. And I guess the biggest prayer of everything over breakthrough in people's lives, which is important, over people's challenges and barriers and the things that are really shackling them or holding them back right now, their business, finances, work life, family life, health, whatever that it is, that the greatest prayer that I have for every single person that's listening right now is that through this time, that they're able to really just have a personal, deep encounter with you. And just like what happened with Daniel after fasting for 21 days, how awesome is it that he was actually able to have a face-to-face encounter with the living God? Because ultimately, regardless of what financial worries or health worries or whatever earthly worries that we have, it's all solved when we put you first. It's all solved when we meet with you, because we're in the face of you. Nothing else matters. It said that better is one day in your courts than 1,000 elsewhere. And I just hope and I pray that through this experience, every single person here, whether there's someone that has accepted you into their life or not, maybe they're wondering, maybe they're wandering, maybe they're with you right now as well too, they get a deeper, deeper, deeper personal encounter where it's so obvious that there's that relationship that's struck between father and son, father and daughter. And I'm so excited for this breakthrough. So I just want to pray any chains are broken. I want to pray that any type of forces that are around, they are gone in the name of Jesus, and that they're able to see clearly and move forward with this as well too. Bring the right people to this, and I'm so excited to be used by you. Let your word be known. Let your word be spoken, not my word. And I can't wait for the rest of this. But in Jesus' name, pray. Amen. Hey guys, thanks for being on here today. Excited, of course, and I can't wait to see you guys as well. And other than that, stay tuned. I'll be giving a lot more content as we go through this, and I hope to see you guys in that Telegram group. Talk soon, guys.